You know the picture, right? The classic American dream. A great house, a big green lawn, maybe that perfect white picket fence. It's an image we all know, a symbol that you've made it. But what if that dream, the very foundation of how so many of us live, is actually an illusion? What if it's built on something that just can't last?
Yeah, you heard that right. A Ponzi scheme? That's the wild, provocative claim from the source material we're digging into today. The idea that suburbia, this picture of safety and security, could be a fundamentally broken, unsustainable model. It's a huge claim, so let's really get into what it means.
And look, this isn't just some fringe idea we're talking about. The numbers are huge. As of 2022, a whopping 55% of all Americans live in the suburbs. That's more than half the country. So this isn't about some architectural debate. It's about the primary way of life in America. And if that model is broken, well, that's a big problem.
So to really get a grip on the problems, we've got to go back in time. We have to understand the origin story. You see, the modern American suburb didn't just pop up out of nowhere. No, it was engineered. It was designed very deliberately at a specific moment in our history.
Okay, so picture this. World War II ends, and soldiers are coming home by the millions, but there's nowhere for them to live. So what happens? Developers take the same assembly line thinking that built tanks and planes and apply it to houses, stamping them out at an incredible rate. Then, the government steps in with these amazing low-interest loans that literally made it cheaper to buy a brand new house out in the sticks than to rent an apartment in the city. And the final piece of the puzzle? The 1956 Interstate Highway Act. Suddenly, you could live miles from your job and just drive. The car was crowned king, and the suburban dream was officially open for business.
What's so wild is just how weird this American model is. I mean, you go almost anywhere else in the world, and neighborhoods are built for people. You can walk to grab a coffee, pick up groceries, or just hang out in a park. But in the US, strict zoning laws split everything up. You have your zone for houses over here, and the zone for shops is way over there. You can't mix them. The result is a landscape that isn't designed for humans to walk around in, it's designed for cars to drive through.
And that totally unique design choice, well, it's come with some pretty serious and often totally hidden consequences. We're talking about a massive bill that's coming due for our planet and maybe even for our own happiness. Let's start with the environmental side of things.
So if you look at a chart like this, it kind of confirms what you'd probably guess. You look at a big city like Chicago, and yeah, the super dense downtown area pumps out way more total carbon than the leafy green suburbs. Case closed, right? Cities are dirty, suburbs are clean. But hold on, here's the twist. That total number is super misleading because, of course, way more people are packed into that downtown space. The second you change the math and look at it per household, the whole thing flips on its head. It turns out that suburban households, where you have to get in a car for literally every trip, and where the houses are just bigger and less efficient, they have a much, much bigger carbon footprint per person. It's a perfect example of how this low-density life just eats up land and energy.
But the cost isn't just about carbon. It's about us. It's personal. There's a lot of talk right now about a loneliness epidemic in America. And when you look at the data, you see this strange pattern. The states with the most suburban sprawl often report the highest levels of social isolation. So, what's going on? How could our neighborhoods be making us lonely?
Well, the answer might be in this really cool idea from sociology called the third place. Think about it. Home is your first place. Work is your second place. But your third place, that's where life happens. It's the coffee shop, the library, the park, the town square. It's where you have those little, unplanned, spontaneous run-ins with other people. And those places are absolutely crucial for a healthy, connected community.
And here is the gut punch. In most American suburbs, those third places don't exist. They've been zoned right out of existence. There's no corner store to walk to, no plaza to hang out in. Heck, a lot of places don't even have sidewalks. Because you have to get in your car for everything, every single social interaction becomes a scheduled event. You don't just bump into people anymore. You have to text, plan, and schedule a visit. And over time, that little bit of friction builds a wall.
Okay, so if the environmental and social costs weren't bad enough, we're now at the most shocking part of this whole argument. The claim that the entire financial system of the suburbs is, well, a Ponzi scheme.
I mean, you'd think they would, right? People in suburbs pay a ton in property taxes. You just assume that money is paying for the roads, the water pipes, the sewer lines, all that stuff. But when you actually crunch the numbers, it's not even close.
The math is just brutal. The inefficiency is staggering. In a dense city, 100 feet of pipe might serve, say, 200 people.
In a sprawling suburb, that same 100 feet of pipe might serve just 2 people in one house. The tax money from that one house has no chance, zero chance, of paying for the lifetime maintenance of all that asphalt and all those pipes that were laid just for them.
So, how do these towns not go bankrupt? Well, this is the scheme. A shiny new development gets built. 20, 30 years go by, and its roads and pipes start to crumble. The town looks at its bank account and realizes, uh-oh, we can't afford these repairs. So what do? They approve another, bigger, shinier, new development next door. They take the one-time fees and the first few years of taxes from the new guys to pay for the repairs of the old guys. It's a system that only survives by constantly growing. It has to keep expanding to pay off the debts of the past. That, my friends, is the literal definition of a Ponzi scheme.
Okay, I know. That was a lot of doom and gloom. It sounds pretty hopeless, but it's not. The sources are really clear on this. This is a man-made problem, which means we can fix it. We just have to start thinking in a totally different way about what makes a good community. So, what does a better way look like? Well, we could take a page from places like the Netherlands. Their towns are thriving. They're socially connected, good for the environment, and, get this, they're financially solvent. How do they do it? Simple. They let shops and houses be neighbors. They invest big in amazing walking and biking paths. And, this is key, they build things at a more human, slightly denser scale, which means the tax money a place generates can actually afford to maintain it for the long run.
I think this quote really nails it. It sums up the choice we have. We can keep doing things the same way, literally paving over our future just to pay for yesterday's mistakes, or we can start building a new dream. A dream where that white picket fence is part of a real neighborhood, not a barrier separating you from everyone else.
And really, that's the question I want to leave you with. Let's just set aside that old 1950s picture for a minute. In today's world, what does a truly happy, healthy, and vibrant community look like to you? Because the answer to that question just might be the blueprint we need for the future. Thanks for joining me.